actually played Bane, Nature's Prophet. They also had Earth Spirit as well.
That's true. Yeah, they opened up with Prophet and Earth Spirit. I remember that game. They had second pick opened up with Prophet and Earth Spirit, and it was pretty solid, vengeful.
Different type of save, but another save nonetheless.
I mean, it's one of the old school saves versus Bane, and the swap comes like a really good tool to play versus any channeling spells. Grip is one of those. You have Wave of Terror as well. That's pretty solid versus the Treants in the lane, versus the Furion. Not my favorite support, I have to admit, versus the Furion, but you do also have this buffing up mechanic, right? For there you go, the Earth Spirit, they go for it, right?
It's a good way of trying to find that Shadow Demon on the backline as well.
It's so much damage and chaos. It's so much damage and chaos. Like,
well, they can actually make moves right now.
And they can make moves constantly across the map. You have this combo, if this Furion is offlane, you have a pretty solid 3-4. You have a sturdy, stonky Earth Spirit next to the Furion.
Swole Boy with his braces.
Swole Boy, I like this. Overall, it looks pretty solid.
For Alliance, they still need, I think, what are they picking for Nico Baby? Like, what's their... Are they just going to go for their Slark to try and just have a game again? Like, I don't want to see a Ricky, especially after...
I don't want to see a Ricky. Ricky, maybe from Liquid, definitely not from Alliance, in my opinion, at least. But Liquid, they didn't really pick it way too many times. All right, of course, we go back to this. One of these teams was going to pick it. It's going to be Liquid.
Well, I guess that
now they go
question
Slark
is like,
Alliance.
You think it's definitely going to be Slark now?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent Slark game. Like, outside the lane, you're just going to be able to run around freely. You're going to tank enough spells. Like, even if you get caught, like, your Earth Spirit should already be the one saving you there. So I think this is a...
You don't care really about the disruption catch. The magic missile is telegraphed. The stomp from Centaur
now you
also
can just leash it, right? So Stampede's, it's a whole different story, right? Like, you actually connect pounce. Cool, Stampede's cute, but you're not running away, right? So
it looks like a pretty sick.
I guess it's also nice you got the Earth Spirit that can play in and out with you, right? Because Slarks, they like to get in, then get out, then kind of reset the fight.
You can both play together, correct? Yeah. Go on, pick the Slark Alliance.
Just
you know you want
already.
We're just like sitting back. It's like we made our prediction. We're 100%. We'll bet the house, the firstborn child, the dog, everything on it.
Because like when you think of other Nico heroes, like none of them really look that
like
good.
Void doesn't feel good here.
Like the last time they picked this exact combo, they had DP and a Wraith King, right? And like DP's banned, Wraith King's not good. There you go. Thank you. Great. Good job.
No, I think Alliance don't have a coach right now. If you
no, I'm good. I don't want to ruin that team. No, I'm joking.
I'm pretty sure Liquid understood this was going to happen, though. The Slark will be picked up.
It's not surprising, right?
Yeah, definitely not. What I really so far like about their draft is the versatility from the Dragonite, and they won't shy away from putting him on the lane where Furion is too. You just don't care about him.
I honestly think he actually is just going to be a safe lane in this position.
Versus, I mean, Alliance can still flex it as well, right? With the Furion, they can put it mid, they can put it off lane,
sure,
and because
but they
of
have
that,
to pick, right? So it's kind of hard. I think though for Liquid, they could easily just go for like a TA type hero, right? DK safe lane, TA mid, and then you have some insane like timing, and the Slark's going to always be playing on the back foot. Alliance still have the same issue where their team fight isn't really a team fight. It's like we jump your backline if we don't kill you, and the fight prolongs, then we'll eventually get like outstunned and out kind of battled. So I want to see them pick up hopefully a mid lane that can actually push out waves and complete their draft.
What could Liquid go for that's kind of special and out there here? Something maybe like PL even, right? Versus the Slark. Are there any real answers on position 1 versus Slark or the mid lane? That's the question now.
Oh, normally against Slark, you just think of any illusion hero, right? And that normally negates them. So if you could even go, for example, like a Naga, right? Against you don't care about the Furion, you don't care about pretty much anything that Alliance has, but this way Alliance could pick up any like soft illusion counter, and you play out your game. So you could go for Eshrak, maybe even like a Kunkka mid. I think Kunkka's pretty good for Alliance, but then you just open yourself up to get like razored, and it's difficult.
Got the PL banned out instantly by Alliance. They understood the threat. Even though one game that they played versus the PL, they won it. And it was also with FNG on the Bane. He was constantly finding the right one, gripping him. I believe that was Sumail that played the PL back then.
Was that when he ate the jelly and revealed that he was
that's the game. That's the game.
Sumail, feels bad, man.
We don't get to see any CML here. OG didn't make it through to the playoffs. But to round out this draft, like we mentioned, Leshrac, Kunkka already. Do you think Leshrac is a little bit too squishy in this lineup? Because usually you like to see him with some sort of save, maybe, right?
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Okay.
Very flexible as well. Now you can pretty much just set
You're
up your
offlaning mid a set, right?
Yeah.
That's yeah. Because like, you touched on it before about the idea of okay, you need to pick a hero that can flex, and then now this is the hero. You have Fury and Batrider
You
mid or
can pretty
offlane.
much just mirror the Dragonite movements with the Batrider. Now, I did see a very similar draft, and Batrider actually just didn't do that. They just put the Furion versus DK mid. That didn't work out really well. But overall, this Batrider's game looks pretty solid. Vengeful, however, is an awesome pick here for your position 5. Overall, Vengeful Spirit has been long time ago considered as a counter to both the Bat and the Bane, and PL is banned out. They go with the Naga.
Yep. He did cool.
Yes, I'm hidden behind the Batrider, but I did a little like air pump.
You need
like,
to just lift it
yeah, I did
high
that,
to be the
but
Batrider.
again, hold on, wait.
The Bat is still pretty good here. Like even with the Naga pick, it's very, very solid because you're putting most likely the Dragonite mid lane, right?
Yeah. Does it feel like Alliance play at a much faster pace? Because like when you compare these two, you think about like heroes like the Naga, right? The Dragonite. It's more methodical. It's maybe a little bit slower at times. Whereas Alliance, you got Slark, your Batrider, your Nature's Prophet. It's just heroes that want to kill all the time. Yeah,
I think the important thing to note between these two is that like DK Centaur, like Centaur waits for his first tank item or Blink. DK always wants to wait for Blink. He can pressure early, but he can always get picked off. And Naga doesn't rejoin any fight up until like either straight defusal or like Yasha defusal, Manta defusal. Right? There's 3 states in which he can join a fight. So your Alliance will be able to own and collapse the map very early on. The issue is the laning on Liquid is so scary because you have Centaur SD, you've got potentially Naga could be mid against the like Batrider or like you can just put your win condition mid.
You're
right?
putting, I mean, both of these heroes are decent versus Furion, but both of them are equally bad versus Batrider. Yeah, you have mirror images, but it just doesn't help. It doesn't help in the lane. So Batrider should have a really good laning stage, and off of that, Alliance should be able to hunt Team Liquid very early on. So as long as Alliance manage to have these good lanes and set up and hunt constantly, I don't think they will manage to bring this Naga online.
So you think Alliance got this?
Yeah.
T?
Yeah, sure.
Get your thoughts quickly.
No, yeah, I'm thinking that, I think Alliance will own this game. Yeah, go for it. Why not?
All right.
Alliance again.
Well, they will have to if they want to keep this going, as Alliance are 1 game away from elimination. Let's see if they can give us our 3rd game for the first time here.
No, I want Liquid. I want Liquid.
As we go into game number 2.
The panel is quite split. All of a sudden, Cinder, and you got to break the tie now.
I don't even think they agree with themselves. Like, each individual person doesn't know what they want. So, yeah. This game is different to me than the last game. I don't have a clear favorite nearly as much in this one. I think Alliance covered some problems that they had in the last game. This game they have better laning stage. They have more ways of fighting. The save on Liquid is a bit less prominent, although is it really? Actually, let's just scratch that. Now they have Song of the Siren as well, so maybe not.
Yeah.
They have tons of disengage. But the one concern I have looking for Alliance right now is Limp is playing offlane. Has this happened this tournament? Or am I forgetting this happening? I feel like Limp has played mid every single game for them, and they've always just given him the hero they want mid. Is that wrong?
You're asking me. I cast 1 Alliance series. Of the 1 Alliance series that I cast, he was mid.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you can't play side lanes. All of these players can play every lane, but it is possible it changes the dynamic of the team quite a bit, right? Like if you're playing side lane, you get levels slower. There's more pressure on S4 to deliver. He's obviously very confident and capable in the mid lane. The reason that Alliance are going to do this is they're anticipating that Naga will go mid. Naga has a mid build and obviously wants to lane against the Batrider. But as soon as they identify this is the laning from Alliance, they're going to start lane swapping. So now Koiko goes mid on Dragon Knight. Now, Nature's Prophet is going to realize this and start heading top because he wants to have Batrider face Dragon Knight. But now that Batrider is running through Liquid's wards, Liquid are going to lane swap again. So now Koiko will run top and Naga's back to mid. And in the end, Liquid are the big winners here because they got experience on both the lanes, and Alliance didn't to begin with. And now they are in. Nope. Nice Prophet's going back. Koikva might just run after him, honestly.
I mean, S4 has no experience so far, and we're a full minute in, and this is your mid laner, technically speaking. I mean, we've seen like the musical chairs in terms of switching lanes before. This one, for some reason, is just more comical. As Bane, FNG dies under his tier 1 tower.
He just died to Shadow Poison and attacks from Taiga. That's...
I was not expecting that.
Very unusual for Bane to die in this matchup. Just must have been a pretty crucial mistake. Like, you don't die to Shadow Demon one-on-one in this lane. Not level 1. No way.
Well, it is going to be Naga versus Nature's Prophet mid. And of course, lane swapping now is going to be pretty moot, considering S4 will be able to get teleportation at any point if he really wants. Just switch lanes very fast. But if this does continue, Naga versus Nature's Prophet, what does that lane look like?
I think Naga will get really good farm, especially given the head start that she got on experience. She's half a level ahead of S4, so getting level 2 mirror image for the second cast here will be really nice. I don't think Nature's Prophet really does anything to Naga. High base armor against the Trance and against the Blightstone. Nature's Prophet can't kill off the illusions, so Liquid weren't trying to avoid this because they don't want Naga against Nature's Prophet. They did it because they don't want Dragon Knight against Batrider. That's why they swapped. And now they're kind of stuck with it in the end, and Limp has good levels. So I think this top lane is kind of a... I'm not sure what the best way of describing this is for Liquid. It's very dangerous, let's say. Let's put it that way.
It's almost like, I mean, considering they got the first blood bottom, this is almost like the sacrifice lane, the old school. But of course, it's in the safe lane. It's kind of weird. But we'll see. I mean, DK is still pretty tanky, as long as he doesn't continue to get stacks of sticky napalm, which there are 5 of now. Limp has not leveled Firefly up, but he's staving 2 levels right now, just in case he finds a good opportunity to use it under the tower.
Yep. And I was gonna say, I hope Koikva this is level 2 firewall. You have to do this. I think if you can, getting just a little bit distance, it's not important. It'll kill you through first few.
I can't tell if you're Robody or if it's me, Cinderin. I'm gonna
You're back to normal
just
for me.
you as usual.
We're good.
I'm back to normal for you.
Yeah.
Good.
Am I back to normal for you?
Yes, you
you
don't
like
sound
what you
a
hear?
robot anymore. I did. It got me. It actually concerns me that I liked it so much. But we did.
Oh,
miss
you like
another Bane
ASMR
death.
too, so it's not surprising.
There's a lot of people that like ASMR. Don't make it weird, Cinder.
No,
we can
that's
talk about
not
this all
weird.
day. You implied that it was. Okay.
No,
It's maybe weird that I do it during when I play games sometimes. I pretty much fall asleep. That's another story. That's called
That
addiction.
explains so much.
Not when I play with you, though. I put on my try-hard pants, which is even sadder.
That's even more concerning. That is you
Yes, I
trying?
shouldn't have
Oh
said
no. Top
Koikva,
lane,
top lane.
could be in trouble. He has the stun though,
Let's
like we
have
said.
3
He's gonna stun.
stacks right now. There's 1 level of Firefly, and he pops his wand, but he looks to be most likely just dead here. Insania has already expended all he can. Hanskin taking heavy damage though, so it's going to be a trade of sorts. But Limp is going to be A-okay with
Bad
it.
for Liquid, honestly. I know your Dragon Knight is not super happy right now, but if you trade when the enemy has this favorable lane right now, the levels on Venge and the Golden Venge is super useful. So it's really not that bad for them. I think they'll take this trade.
And looking at the CS right now in terms of the carries, Slark 28-4 versus the Naga 27-4. Naga is the mid lane.
Oh, it's the
mid
carry
lane is
though.
actually, mid lane is the same in terms of CS, very similar. The DK is the one struggling, like you said. So 11-2 versus 29-4. If you want to compare the two, the discrepancy is enormous right now. Now, the question is, what can Liquid do about this? Limp is going on quick again. Level 3 versus level 5. It just doesn't seem fair. Taiga, TP's in though. Looks like his presence alone will save Koikva's life. Maybe turn this around. Taking a lot of damage though from this Firefly. It's about to end. Limp has 3 stacks of Shadow Poison on him. Make it 4, and he will pop shortly after. Hanskin looking for the kill on Insania, but looks like he mistimed his roll a little bit. S4 does TP in to get a counter kill on the Shadow Demon, but more than that.
Bit unfortunate timing on the Wrath of Nature. I think it only connected on one of Liquid's 3 heroes. The 2 were in fog at the time that it connected, or S4 could have cleaned house there. But yeah, it's pretty good for Alliance because you force the Shadow Demon off the bot lane, and now Bane will happily start harassing the Centaur in this 2v1 lane, and Nico Baby's lane was already good to begin with. Obviously the Bane dying twice was not great, but Nico was free farming the whole time. Now he's doubling up Centaur, who can't even come to the creep wave anymore against this lane. Pretty problematic for him that Shadow Demon had to move, and now he's walking bot again.
Yeah, Nico Baby is having the time of his life in this bot lane. The highest CS by far right now. And we'll be going for drums, it looks like. Does he actually have boots on the way? Okay, boots into drums.
Yep.
Thought for a second he wasn't even going for boots. I'm like, interesting choice. So how does this Naga game look for you when you get to the mid to late game?
Pretty solid. I mean, it was the pick of the draft, right?
Whoa, Nico Baby almost dies there. Has to pop the Shadow Dance. Okay, continue.
I think it was the 10th pick of the draft, right? I'm pretty sure. It looks really, really solid here. It's awesome against Bane. It's really good against Batrider later on. The Slark matchup is nice. It's actually just flat out good against all of the heroes. And kind of what Alliance need to do to solve it is they need to play the tempo of their draft. Their lineup is super fast in the earlier portion of the mid game, as Bane will die again.
Yes. So Stomp into Double Edge, and of course extra damage from Shadow Demon is there. Nico Baby though is going to have some help in the form of Limp, who actually uses Lasso. It didn't look like they actually needed it, but we did pop the Stampede, I suppose. So they'll find the trade. They'll take that. And Koikfa was getting pressured a bit here. Handskin only level 3 right now. But there are the numbers are here. Alliance continuing on as Koikfa is still only level 5. He pops his wand. It looks like the flame break does connect. I think he'll live through it though. Tanskin tiptoeing away with that health salve going. I just have to take this rune, it looks like.
I think the biggest win overall that Alliance have brought in this game is that Koikfa's game is this bad. And I don't think he played the top lane poorly. And this time that they rotated him into mid, I think it's a good choice. Like, you need to get him off the bat lane. I wonder, thinking back on this game, if he should have just kept lane swapping forever, like until Furion uses teleport. But like you said, you run into this problem, right?
You're gonna have to hold that thought there. There might be a fight here. Nico Baby jumps in, TP support though from Liquid. They're pretty much out of mana. It's just boxy with mana right now. And really no abilities to cast with mana. But yeah, the Nature's Prophet S4 drops to the deck. And that'll break things up. You said they did this to themselves? Is that what you were saying?
You mean the Dragon Knight?
Yeah.
I think they could have maybe kept going back and forth. I wonder when you just like whatever. Again, what prompted it? I wasn't paying fully close attention to like the placement of the heroes all the time, but the first 2 minutes that they did it was really good. Or not 2 minutes, okay, that's an exaggeration. The first 2 times that they did the swap back and forth was really valuable. Ooh. Mickey,
he had a song. Oh, gets nightmare up. It's gonna take more damage, but yeah, the TP is there. Unfortunately, FNG is not level 6 yet. That would have been a definite kill. As we do approach the 10-minute mark now, Insania is going to be taking the opposing outpost. All right, that's his outpost. It's going to be a 1-for-1 if nobody gets it last-second steal here. So that means Bane will finally be... Oh, wait. Looks like FNG will steal it back. So is that the double outpost? Nico Baby was thinking about...
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Very nice. Bane Elemental. Not level 6, though. Somehow. Incredible.
Oh, S4, that was close. If that haste goes to Koikfa and he starts running him down with a +1 behind from the Shadow Demon or Centaur, that could have been a Furion kill, but yeah.
But you're right. When you go into the late game, I'm trying to I'm sure there's somebody worse, but in terms of support heroes feel that bad against Naga, Bane has got to be towards the top of the list. That is,
It's terrible.
Brutal.
It's one of my least favorite matchups to play against the carry as Bane. I think number 1 is Phantom Lancer. That's just absolutely
That's even
terrible.
worse. Very true.
But Naga is all
Daniel was getting
shit,
chased
yeah.
by Limp. The Centaur did ult to keep him safe, and
I love
was
this from Alliance.
successful.
This is good. They're putting so much pressure. S4 is pushing the mid tower while they're making their aggressive move top, so Liquid are kind of forced to distribute their resources, and nobody has a TP ready for mid tower. Koikfa does apparently have one, but he's pushing bot on his own, so S4 just managed to get essentially a full tier 1 mid, and it will just barely.
Yeah, deny. Have to go going out. Koikfa did pop the Elder Dragon form a while ago. It's already at half duration. Applied a little bit of pressure to the bot tower. Not enough to take it out. His top lane, Limp.
Oh, that's
Gets
not
the
good,
lasso,
Limp.
but the instant Dragon Tail from Koikfa. Here comes the Bane Elemental grip to the Naga Siren. Will get the trade. He'll take that any day of the week, although his life might not be lasting a whole lot longer if Koikfa can just get this last second stun here. Oh, baby, though. Yeah. Partially juked and partially not interested in fighting this right now. Nice Sprout keeping him on that side. Taiga does have the disruption. See if he uses it onto the Slark here. So Koikfa lives, but does not find the Bane.
Damn, that kill.
That was a big kill.
That was pretty hilarious. Like, it's just Fiend script inside the corpse of a dead Bad Rider that's burning. He died from.
You've been
all of
really
that extra
obsessed,
damage over time.
obsessed with corpses lately. I noticed that.
Okay, that's off the record.
Wow, you just made it even darker than it was meant to be. Thank you. Didn't know you were into necrophilia there. That's a whole other story.
I thought that was the joke you were making.
Team Liquid.
You like to make inappropriate comments every time we cast, instead of
that
being
inappropriate?
professional and staying on topic.
That is as professional as it gets in Dota. It's a serious topic. There's a lot of issues with that in society, Cinder. I don't know if you've been watching the news. The tier 1 tower is now being taken out by Alliance. Don't exactly have the best pushing heroes in this lane, but Nature's Prophet, of course, can kind of split push to his heart's content. He's going for an Orchid, by the way, on S4. As looks like the Shadow is going to have to disrupt FNG. Bane's secret is not quite up. A nice swap, though. Keeping the Venge alive for now. Double hill stomp into the double edge. But likely will fall here as Magnetize dealing a decent amount of damage. Mickey is forced to use Song of the Siren. Koikfa still has his Elder Dragon form going right now, and they're just going to walk away. See if they can catch
Could be in
more.
trouble if there's a good
As
Sprout.
for the Sprout coming through, Nico Baby has pounced in 1 second, but not gonna be able to find it. In fact, he's gonna find the counter kill. So it's a 1-for-1 now, as Alliance is on the run. Foxy gets boxed into a Sprout again, uses the Quelling Blade to get through it. As for running away, he looks so slow. It looks so sad. And there's a magic missile into the imminent death. So a turnaround here for Liquid, as they were actually retreating.
Yeah, they get the positional advantage by using Song of the Siren, running off to the right on Naga, and Alliance call we can get this kill, and then they get pincered. So basically what ends up happening is that Alliance give them a free backstab. It's kind of like diving a tower where the enemy team just comes from both sides here. And I don't really blame them for going for that Naga. That definitely seemed like a possible kill. It's a super hard decision to make in the moment, but Liquid were definitely on top of it that time around. I think maybe for Alliance, you would be a bit wise right now to just chill for like 2 minutes, get Nature's Prophet his Orchid so you can deal with these pesky saves, or target the Naga before the Manta Style comes out and she can't sing. Your Slark can get his Diffusal, and your lineup is going to feel like twice as strong. But they probably just feel this pressure because of this last big Naga. They're like, we can't save back and farm. But I think sometimes you just, you need to chill for 2 minutes here. Get those items and then go back to playing exactly like you have so far. You're going to be so much stronger.
Yeah, he's not too far away. Basically just a recipe away for finishing that bad boy. This tier 1 tower bot looks like it's next on the list for Liquid, although Danny is getting caught out here with the help of S4 and Limp. The swap in, and Danny's just going to get chased down, though. Looks like that'll be the first to fall here. So the tier 1 tower will be saved again at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, gotta commend Alliance for doing a really good job at defending the towers this game. You're playing against the Dragon Knight lineup. It's really what you want to do. They slow down Koikva, and then they are always ready to protect the lane that he's going to. So because of that, none of their towers is, well, one is barely below half health, but they're pretty well off right now.
What do you think of Taiga's first item choice here?
Oh,
he has a blink queued up right now.
Boxy strip.
Boxy is completely surrounded right now and will easily be taken out. A lot of mobility on the side of Alliance, of course.
Blink on Taiga?
Yeah, and I mean, when
Yeah.
you see this Orchid come online for S4, I would assume you go for like a Yules or something, but
Well, it depends.
going for the aggressive route.
If you see the teleportation come in, you always have the counterplay of just blinking away, and if you teleport on anybody else, you are 2,000 range save all of a sudden. So I don't mind it. I don't think it's a bad choice. Sania gets the D ward.
It's going to get silenced up, slowed as well, but again, Alliance are here in numbers.
They're ready this game.
Able to finish them up. Yeah. They've woken up as this tier 1 tower taken out now, and Boxy might be finding his way to the grave again.
Just oh, bad roll.
He's brought back in. He's going to use Centaur ult to get out of dodge. And
See,
with
I was
that,
going to
it looks like
say,
he's gonna
I've
run.
been there as Earth Spirit where you just miss every spell, but that obviously has not happened. But I could totally imagine that could happen, where you miss your spells and it feels really bad.
Oh, I see.
So the timing on that disruption was super good. It was right as Magnetize got cast, and it didn't connect on any creeps, so he couldn't sustain that Magnetize. But the roll was even worse. That was just miscommunication. Limp pulled the guy off to the right, and the roll went straight down from Henskin, so definitely a bit of a mess up there from Alliance. Pretty costly, considering that Liquid were farming on 2 cores in the meantime. They're going to be happy about that one.
Well, S4 did pick up the Orchid finally. Let's talk about Limp for a second here. We've seen so many different variations of like this first item or two on Bat Riders. He did go for the boosted travel, which we've seen a decent amount. Looks like he's going for the Blink next. Do you like this choice? Would you have preferred different order? Or, I mean, we don't see drums anymore, but obviously Force Staff is put in there. It's maybe one of the first 3 items.
I would kind of like
you like the right item in this game? BKB as the second or first?
Second item. I don't think you can ever really go BKB as first item, but you could go BKB after travels. I don't think it's a bad idea this game to do that. Like, what your lineup wants is a reliable way of starting and extending fights. If you have a BKB here, you can kind of just pick your target. If Venge is accounted for by Nature's Prophet, you have options all the time, and you can be a true damage threat in the fights. The problem when you go this build on Bat a lot of the time, I feel, is you have this one catch, and then afterwards, if you're playing against these lineups of this type, you can't really postpone or continue your damage. FNG is dead.
FNG is dead, but Magnetize is a big one. Stampede coming through now. Nico Baby has to pounce away to safety. S4 is going to get focused on. Double edges there. Is this a swap back in? Nico Baby is going to pop his ult, but there is Mick, his song of the siren.
Mick Jagger.
I mean, when you read his name as an American, that's honestly the first thing that pops in my head. Insania will be the casualty here. Could have been a lot worse for Liquid. But Elder Dragon form was activated, and they're not really able to get anything. I mean, we're at the 19-minute mark, and it's still a level 1 Dragon form. That feels really bad.
It does, but at the same time, the win condition is thriving, right? True. Naga's game is really good, and I don't think Liquid have this sense of urgency that, oh, we have to take the tower soon or this is going to fall apart. They want to, by all means, but it's not necessary for their lineup to do it. As long as Mickey is happy and they're playing their saves and they're not losing too much ground, it's easily playable. Naga is very unique in the sense that it's one of the best carries at dealing with losing a bit of map control, because you always illusion farm, right? So even if you've lost, say, 60% of the map, Naga is one of the carries that can still split the farm 50-50 by just taking the farm that's usually inaccessible. And Alliance need to always be on top of these illusions to make that impossible for Mickey to do. So it's extra threat in their side. FNG wanted that bounty rune.
So you get both outposts of Alliance, but here comes the fight now. FNG, as per norm, might be the first to fall. He's going to get away with just a sliver of HP, but Hanskin not so lucky this time around, as S4 is going to get completely surrounded. Mickey doesn't have his ult for another 20 seconds. The swap to safety. The Sprout from S4. Here, a Fiend Script going off as well. And it looks like the Naga Siren will fall here if he's not careful. 15 seconds for his ult. The saves have been so good, though, for Liquid. Great stun, great layering. Manta is going to completely dispel the Orchid, and S4 might have to just take out the Shadow Demon instead. Not the target of choice, but they'll take it. One for one. Here comes the initiation. That's the Blink Dagger reveal. Onto the cliff goes the Dragon Knight.
That's a good
Koikfa completely destroyed. But Naga lived somehow.
And that was even while being stampeded in a pounce. They actually kind of stampeded at a bad time, but it would still work just long enough that he could create a gap after the pounce ended. And then they could stomp in the Shadowlands. So, like you pointed out, though, the big difference in this fight to the previous one is that there's no Song of the Siren. Liquid have been doing a really good job at using that to reset the fight and get better positioning. And that time it was not available to them. But next fight, the difficulty, it feels like it's going to ramp up for Lions. You know they have a 2k gold lead, but this Naga's inventory is insanely valuable right now. Manta Diffusal against a lineup that doesn't inherently counter the hero, it'll be so much harder to deal with now. Burning off the mana of Slark or getting on top of just one of the supports and killing them single-handedly now is a big issue.
It's kind of, if you look at the net worth, it's really interesting though, because obviously Naga's on top, but then the next three, all cores from Alliance, are a decent amount away from anybody else on the Liquid side. And then Liquid, in terms of their supports, are actually more farmed than Alliance. It's kind of backwards in some ways.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Very different distribution for the two teams for sure. You want to point out like the prognosis of this game is an 80% win for Liquid right now. You wouldn't think so when you saw the gold lead being 3k just a moment ago, but it really is just Gabe has watched a lot of Naga, and he knows
every TI, man.
He's an expert on Naga. It's his favorite hero after Sand King. He knows how these games tend to go. So again,
did he pick a new favorite hero? Maybe.
This is good though for Alliance. This Aegis, Slark hits a super timing soon. He has Aegis and Scotty coming up in 2 minutes. So gonna be very, very powerful. So much more sustain on him allows him to not have to weave in and out of fights so much. It's been the big problem here for Nico is he goes in, but as soon as he takes the damage, has to
bottom lane, and that opens up this potential fight for Liquid. As Liquid will be the focus for them. Stampede is used, and looking to see a Fiend Script as well, but that synergy will likely fall shortly after. Slark has come to play though. The buyback onto the Bat Rider. It's a nice walk, keeping Mickey safe. Very nicely done, and Slark is already going to expend that Aegis. Here comes the Song of the Siren at S4. Trying to finish off Boxy, who's really close with that BKB. Has the spot available, not quite in range. Hanskin about to get the kill there, but Boxy blinks to safety, and again, Liquid gets away with everything.
And they got the Aegis, so they kind of got 2 kills, right? They got the Aegis and Batbot back, so you could even call that a 3-0, to be honest, that fight. Just playing super well around these disengages and saves. The swap from Insania there was about as quick as it could be. They knew that Lasso was coming on the Naga. An instant save takes care of business. Good stuff.
Nico baby, just about to finish. Just maybe a minute away from finishing that Scotty that you were talking about. BKB looks to be next now for Limp after the buyback. That obviously set him back quite a bit. Still sitting on basically the same items he has been for the past 5 minutes now. I'm more interested in how DK is progressing though, because obviously struggled very early on, has the blink initiation, is going for BKB next for survivability. Do you agree with that choice?
Yeah, I think both teams should be looking for BKBs at this point. Batrider is now queuing it up after Blink, so I'm happy to see that from Limp.
We're going to have a fight in
the game.
Both teams kind of baiting each other. Koikfa's going to blink into that Dragon Tail. And here comes Taiga's ult as well as Force pops his BKB, but here's the initiation and the instant swap again, keeping the Naga Siren alive. It's going to cost Venge his life. Pretty sure he'll take any day of the week. Song of the Siren still on cooldown for 20 seconds. This could mean a lot of trouble for Mickey. Disruption is available. Getting quite low. There's another jump in, and they're going to find the double kill with Limp. So great setup for Alliance overall. They get 2 kills, and looks like Boxy will be the 3rd.
Optimistic. Yeah, that was a really good bait from S4. Knowing that his team was covering him on the left, he has the BKB turnaround, and Liquid fell for it. So very, very nice from Alliance. They needed something big like this to stay ahead in the game, or well, rather, I still don't feel like they were ahead going into this, but that moment could just be the big moment of the game where they finally start to get a convincing lead in the game. The big kill, of course, being that Naga.
Oh, man.
Tiger will get out
Gets
for
a little
now.
bit of vision here. Grip is available. Range is not the best, and Disruption comes out first. The life of a Bane, man. Forever looking for a target to cast an ability on.
Dire's structures are fortified.
But yeah, great fight for Alliance. 4K lead. Scotty is now online for Nico Baby.
Scanning.
Anything else? What does S4 have right now? So he had the Orchid BKB. Now has a Maelstrom, so we'll be going for a Mjolnir. So just playing some good old Rat Dota or Alliance style. That Nature's Prophet. Bulldog would be proud.
It is really important that this last fight goes the way that it does, because Alliance clearly have to solve Naga through itemization this game, because their lineup doesn't. And getting that big fight, Maelstrom closing in on the Mjolnir will be big. The Batrider BKB. Oh, he's actually going to find a catch mid. Koikva did not have protection this time.
Always
He is
home with
dead.
protection. Koikva is done. Still no
It feels
BKB.
like that's the first time this game that Liquid actually get caught without a save nearby, and that's big. They can just try to snowball off this. Getting really good ground right now in the bottom area.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And that BKB is not even that close for Koikva. He can almost buy the Mithril Hammer, but that just leaves the recipe, so Alliance still have quite the advantage in terms of the item discrepancy. And with that, actually, both Slark and Nature's Prophet are ahead of the Naga. I was not expecting to say that, but it's definitely the case right now. Zesania, oh, looks like he's dead. Tiger not able to get the disruption in time.
Dire's bottom tower.
But Mickey, we talked about itemization on Naga the other day. I believe they went. What did they go instead of Butterfly? It was
Part
Do you remember?
Abyssal, was it?
no. It was not Tanky. It was
Silver Edge.
I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, Silver Edge, right?
Dire's
That was kind
middle
of weird.
tower.
Definitely
We're
don't
going
do
for
that
the more
this game, of
standard
course.
build here. Yeah.
There's no argument for going silver here, so it's not even considering the item.
But what about the essence shifts and the value?
Wow.
Very helpful. Limp is I mean, he's not mega farm, but I feel like he's created such a really good pace for Alliance between him and S4, just being all over the place.
He's a good killer. I think a lot of the time, people think of Limp a bit more farm intensive because he has had a history of playing a lot of TA, Shadow Fiends, and stuff. But his puck is really good. His bat is no surprise that it's also really good. He has a killer instinct. He loves playing killer heroes like Queen of Pain as well. So, yeah, he knows what to do. He knows what openings to find. But obviously, it is a bit of a different farm distribution, having S4 as kind of the second carry of the game. He's going to TP in to show off his beautiful golden body and run away. And they are like, wow, that's a beautiful golden body, said Boxy.
Beautiful golden body, yes.
He got scared.
That
He TP'd in and was like, oh shit.
That was
Somebody
his
there.
8-second BKB, so he's used it, I wouldn't say liberally necessarily, but he's used it quite a few times so far this game.
Yeah.
But before you know it, it's not going to last too long.
Slark now has
Boxy.
Orchid. I believe that's new, fully new.
Yep.
So now
Straight
Nico
for the
can
blood
also punch or pounce on the back line. They're going to try to get Boxy. He is in death.
He's dead.
Nowhere nearby.
Radiant's
Easy
middle
kill.
tower is under attack.
And Slark right now sitting on 9 permanent agility. Nothing crazy, but that could get out of control real fast. Butterfly is officially done now on Mickey. has no buyback at all. So, I mean, this is like the time of the game where Roshan is going to become very important once he's up. Sania, another kill.
This is the big one.
This would be huge. Song is available. Can they layer the stuns and silences properly? The answer to that is yes, and no buyback like I talked about. So that means high ground is potentially here. Or Alliance.
Love the play from Nico too. They get the Centaur kill bot, and he instantly just TP stop. He's like, let's run them out of their jungle. And Liquid didn't manage to get out in time. They saw him the whole time, but they didn't get away. Got cut off by both the Prophet, Earth Spirit, and the Bat at the same time. And that's Lane Rax. Alliance has been playing really, really well these last few minutes. Really earning this victory right now.
Yeah, it's still 30 seconds without the Naga. There's no reason not
Two lanes,
here.
probably.
You do have to be careful because Song of the Siren is available once he's back. And perhaps
They're gonna settle.
I mean, at this stage, they know he doesn't have fire, but I don't think they could have finished the racks and felt safe enough to continue.
It's actually completely fine to back off there. It's good.
BKB now picked up by Alliance, so the items are starting to flow in every direction. Bloodthorn only 1,000 away for Nico Baby. Don't see a lot of this item, at least not since they changed it to be a Hyperstone. What are your
Nice
thoughts
for Spark,
on it
though.
now? Yeah.
So he wants the attack speed more than the... Oh, I don't know if he wants it more than the damage. The old Bloodthorn was still really good. But...
Dire's top tower.
Yeah, Slark is definitely one of the heroes who can make the best case for this being an upgrade over the old one.
And he's now the net worth leader by a wide margin, followed closely behind by S4. We're going to see a smoke here from Liquid. This could be their last attempt here. If they get wiped, then this will be GG for sure. Quickfoot jumps in, pops the Elder Dragon form, but gets slept immediately. Foxy still has a stampede. He's going to get gripped away from his entire team right now, but there's a disruption keeping him safe. That's for pops the BKB. Quickfoot's going to completely focus on Handskin right now. He gets up a really good ult, but will die shortly after. Nico Baby now being focused as the buyback on the Handskin is there. And Stania gets the nice swap, and there is the song, but the Vengeful Spirit dies shortly after. And Mickey TPing out, so we'll save a majority of his team, but remember, with the buyback on Hansen and Elder Dragon form being down, they can just, I assume, just push if they really want.
Or wait for Roche. It's up in 20 seconds. They know the max spawn timer isn't too far away, so it won't be long before they can claim that. And I like it from Liquid that they try to make this move. I think you have to get something done there. They smoke up, the smoke breaks. Koikfa feels confident to blink in Pop Dragon form and BKB and get something done, but Alliance were just as good at reacting quickly and not giving him a single target to really start that fight on. That's what really mattered. Like Dragon Knight's BKB essentially gets wasted over time. Centaur got way out of position, had to be saved by SD, but again, this is what Alliance couldn't manage in the last game. This game, they're burning Liquid saves, and once they are burnt, the fights are actually really easy for Slard. So, and this is their Roche for sure. Liquid, no interest in going here without Song, Dragon form, and Stampede. Yeah, makes it even harder now.
One of the downsides of Liquid's lineup, of course, is having these cooldowns in terms of ultimates that are just super important, especially the Dragon form. But when you add that in conjunction with a position one that has a song that you have needed pretty much every single fight, and I mean, a couple of his deaths early on were because he didn't have song, just because the cooldown was so long at level 1 and 2. So it might be biting them in the ass just a little bit. Of course, if this game ends up going like super late, they're going to feel much more comfortable having the Naga.
Oh, he got last again.
Initiation onto Mickey. There's the Fiend's Grip, and Centaur ult will not save you this time. Koikfa even pops his Elder Dragon form, and they're just going to chase. That's how confident they're chasing a literal dragon right now. Swap out Insania.
He's dead.
The magic missile as well, and he will sacrifice his life. And with this, and the Aegis intact, no reason Alliance can't get a second lane, if not more. All right, Insania is still alive. How's that possible? He lived
They
so
let him
long.
sleep for like 8 seconds so that Slark could get 1 agility.
Wow, that agility is going to make a huge difference in this game.
They were just chasing other heroes. You can just park that guy there. He's not dangerous.
Dragon form. Oh, they're actually not waiting for that. Surprisingly, Lynch jumps in. BKB is already at half health though. As now Boxy, with no ult to speak of, will not be able to get himself out. But Insania with the save again will sacrifice himself again. That's 13 agility. He's getting out of control with a permanent agility on Nico, baby. Disruption, save. It's just not enough. Double kill for Nico. 14 permanent agility. This is going to be a second lane of rack, and probably more. We're going to see a Lasso now, as the supports are just melting under the pressure of the cores of Alliance. Repair kit, not as good as it used to be. They'll eventually find that melee racks. Feels like the illusions just haven't had much impact in the pushing department. A lot of that has to do with the advantages that Alliance have had in terms of the net worth and whatnot. And here is the jump in again on the Mickey. The song is available, but the silences just continue. And GG is called as Alliance just stomps their way through game 2. So this is now tied up and going to a game 3.
Yeah, Alliance really picked up the pace. This game was looking pretty grim. They weren't really building the advantage that we were hoping for. And then they get those key items, right? They get the Nature's Prophet Orchid, they get the Slug Diffusal, and they start finding fights with their timing. They start getting pickoffs. For me, the big X factor of this game, Limp had so many